Right. Dr. Shawne Murray, coming to talk here at the 2019 GOMA Fall Conference. And you start off the conference with a really common issue. Originally it was listed as trigger points, but you talked about upper cross syndrome. Maybe before we start talking about that, you could tell us about your practice, and you've had a transition over the recent couple years.
Yes, I basically practice in Georgia, different places, Norcross, Roswell, and then Sandy Springs, and then Buckhead.
Okay.
During my 31 years of practice, of which was 18 years was as a general practitioner, doing 70% osteopathy as a GP.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned after I got my board certification osteopathy to doing primarily osteopathic practice and nutrition, functional medicine. And I did a lot of somato-emotional release in my practice.
But now you're full-time here at the school.
And now I basically did 8 years of table training for the school while I was still doing my private practice, and they asked me to come on board 2 years ago.
Oh, good. Congratulations.
And I'm very
I know
grateful.
They're happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. I love working with the students.
Well, that's great.
They are so wonderful. We're very blessed.
Patients can call and make appointments with you, and
They have times where they allow new people to come in the clinic, and sometimes we have to kind of settle the clinic down a little bit because we get too overwhelmed with everything else going on, like exams and practicals and all that. So they have a rhythm, but please do call, and they can put you on a little wait list, and then you can get in. And people have actually found me through the internet and called my private cell phone, which is fine because I just usually respond to that.
We'll have the office number listed here, so that'll be good. So tell me a little bit about, and the people watching, upper cross syndrome. I'm saying that right?
Upper crossed syndrome.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that and how it's related to trigger points, if you don't mind.
Okay, so upper cross syndrome was a term given to the particular syndrome that we all unfortunately suffer from in Western society, where we sit with poor posture, with rounded shoulders, or we're looking at the computer screen, or we're sitting in a lazy boy or recliner, and we're
I'm familiar with it, yes.
we're sitting rounded instead of which causes contraction of the pectoralis muscles, and that causes protractions of the scapula. And basically the tight pecs turn off and the anterior serratus lower traps. And basically that causes us to become more rounded and kyphotic, or front forward thoracic curve.
Right.
And basically what happens is it creates back pain because the pecs are pulling the scapula forward, and the rhomboids, which are between your shoulder blades, are going against that motion, and they're losing the battle, so they get very, very, very tight. But they also get turned off because of an inhibition that happens because the pecs are tight through the nervous system. So basically it's really, really important to do certain exercises to stretch the pec. And the trigger points are when you load a muscle for a long time or really abruptly, they develop and they just maintain that contraction until we free them. So I was teaching several techniques that we use in osteopathy. One of them is inhibition of the point. One of them is an FPR, where we take it into a relaxed state and we compress into the point, and then we bring it back to neutral, or we take it into a counter strain, which is again taking position of ease and then holding it and doing some respiratory assist, as well as stretching the point, which is another form of facilitation, so we don't have to hold it for 90 seconds, we only have to hold it for 30 seconds. And then we take that, once that's released, we take it into the resistant barrier to stretch the muscle. Because Dr. Travell said stretching the muscle was one of the most important treatments. So when we stretch the muscles, we do an isometric contraction, which is we resist at an equal, so that the length of the muscle doesn't change. And we resist the patient with equal strength. And they do that for 5 seconds, and then relax. And then after 2 seconds of relaxation, we stretch the muscle. And we do that for 3 or 5 cycles to open up the muscle. So there's certain muscles that we want to take and relax, like the pectoralis, levator scap, the sternocleidomastoid, the suboccipital muscles, and we want to actually, which will, once we help them relax, will help to turn back on the inhibited muscles. But sometimes the inhibited muscles need to be strengthened because they've been turned off for a while. And so we do certain strengthening exercises to help them, particularly serratus anterior, which is the one that pulls the shoulder blades down against the pull-up of the pectoralis major.
Yeah. And so you gave us some handouts for that, and that's
yes,
gonna help
I gave you
everyone.
stretches and postural exercises as well as ergonomics for the how you sit, which is really, really important to keep yourself healthy.
It's such a common problem. We've got all our technology that's not helping us at all in this whole pattern. And we were bad enough before all the technology. Now we're just going to be worse off if we don't do something. So
Yeah.
thank you so much once
Thank
again
you
for
so very
talking.
much. I appreciate it.